The BFI is an institution well known to many, many Londoners. I understand you're going to be opening at the beginning of September. Talk to me about the arts bailout package announced by the government. How far will that actually go? Will it be able to prevent large amounts of layoffs in the industry, which relies on the work of freelancers for a lot of the work?
Yeah, good morning. The first thing I should say is that this is hugely welcome news. We've been working really closely with our colleagues at the Department for Culture, Media and Sport and Treasury to put together the case for supporting the arts and within that independent cinemas, which provides a huge amount of jobs. I mean, the independent cinema sector employs over 15,000 people and also provides really key cultural spaces at the centres of many communities. So, yeah, absolutely, this will ensure that many of them are able to open as safely and swiftly as possible. And as you mentioned, we as a cinema are looking towards a September opening, and we know that many cinemas have been looking to open quickly, and I think it'll put them on the same track. It's great news.
So, look, and everybody's going to look forward to that reopening, and I certainly look forward to being back there with you in September when I'm hopefully at home. But the reality is, I went to a cinema here recently. It's 2, space 2, space 2, and an entire row gone, and then 2, space 2. The reality is here, It's going to be a lot harder for everybody to come back. There are going to be casualties. How much smaller will the church of cinema be?
Well, you make a really good point, because if I just give you a really simple example, we've got 450 seats in our big cinema at the BFI South Bank. With 1 metre social distancing in place, we can sell 160 of those seats, so about a third. A lot better than 2 metres, but it's still only about a third of seats. And it's very difficult for many independent cinemas to operate under 50% capacity. So what this package does is allows many cinemas like us to reopen when they're actually below a level of audiences that makes it viable for them to open. So, look, this package is huge news on that front. I think it will get us through a period where social distancing is still in place. My own view, and it's the view of many of my friends and colleagues, is that we want to get back into communal spaces as soon as possible. I think there will still be casualties, because any arts package, no matter how big, is not going to be enough to support everyone. So I think there will be casualties. Yeah. But by and large, this has been worked out on the basis that we can get many of them back up and running.
Yeah, and Ben, you say there will be casualties. I mean, how many insolvencies do you expect as a percentage of the industry as a result, as you say, of the difficulty of operating below capacity?
I'm not sure. It's far too early for me to say, because we're actually still working out what the details of the funding are going to look like, and we're working through that now with government at speed. I think what I will say, I won't speculate on insolvencies, but I will say that in terms of redundancies, many independent cinemas, many cinemas across the country already had to make a certain amount of redundancies, or were expecting to do so. And we know that there are already major cultural venues that have announced that they're closing their doors. So our job now as the BFI, and we're going to be the grant administrator for the independent cinema package, is to make sure that we get that money out across the country, because that's one of the most important things we need to do, to make sure that there are cinemas available to audiences across the country. And we'll make sure that it can go as far as it possibly can, but there will undoubtedly be some casualties. The cinema sector has been losing about £5.7 million a day since lockdown, so it's absolutely a fact of life now that some of them are going to have to make some of their staff redundant long term.